Just like we do every Monday, we're going to take a look at the next-gen stats from Week 11, analyze the running backs, look over the trend, see whether or not you need to pick up any of these running backs off waivers, trade for them, trade them away, whatever you need to do, maybe help you with that confirmation bias. But what you need to do right now, click that subscribe button, tap it with the finger on your phone, click it with your mouse on the computer. We're helping you set the waiver wire every week, helping you make those claims. We're helping you set your lineups, helping you win those trades, everything else. We also help you with your research in the offseason. You need to hit that button so you don't miss out next summer. Also, Ric Flair is watching. You do not want to disappoint him. But let's look at these 10 trending running backs. The first one is Zach Charbonnet. And a lot of people have questions on him because of the Kenneth Walker injury news. He saw some touches. 15 carries, 47 yards, caught 6 balls, and he's used a lot in the passing game. He's their pass-catching running back pretty much. He runs about 22 to 25 routes per game, and we're going to see an uptick in workload here. The thing about this with Zach Charbonnet is the schedule going forward. There's a part where it's Niners, Cowboys, Niners, and there's some other rough matchups ahead of him. That's the thing to notice here with Zach Charbonnet is it's not going to be the best schedule for him to be productive. But the thing about running backs and the position in general, it's just the nature here. If your running back's seeing double-digit touches and is pushing 15 to 20 per game, but the outcomes aren't that great or the matchups aren't that great, you still kind of want them on your team because the volume's eventually going to lead to fantasy production. We saw that against the Rams, 12.9 points, the week prior 10. So if he's getting more opportunities, that means there's more opportunities for him to cross the goal line, to get a long run, to catch a couple more balls. So that being said, he still needs to be rostered in all fantasy leagues. Royce Freeman got the touches this week, 17 carries, 73 yards. Nothing grandiose here. But it's important to watch these running backs when Matthew Stafford's back. They're still sharing the workload. It's still kind of ugly. We're waiting for Kyren Williams, really. We're waiting for him to come back. It's going to be too late in the season for him to really do anything for us, but we're still waiting for him, especially with Matt Stafford back in the fold, helping this team move the chains. We're getting the firepower back in this offense, so we could be seeing more production out of these running backs here soon. Brian Robinson is a sneaky play this year. He's been sneaky all season, and I feel like if you need a trade for a running back and you need it to be on the cheaper end, but you need production, he might be the guy to look at because you really don't see many people on the internet bragging about his fantasy production, what he's doing on the field. Last 4 weeks, 9 fantasy points, 11, 27, 20. And the thing about that, he can get you a 20 spot. Gibson's been dealing with injuries. The thing about this, though, with Brian Robinson, we know there's going to be ups and downs due to the nature of the offense. But honestly, considering he's been solid, and he's a cheap get in trades, depending on your league, depending on the market, but analyzing social media and how people really value him, he could be a running back that you can catch on the cheap before the trade deadline. James Conner is another running back you might be able to catch at a discount here. He's getting double-digit touches per game since he's been back. That's a sample size of 2, but we really don't see that changing. James Conner has not hit in fantasy yet since he's been back, but the thing is he's getting touches, and that's what you want out of your running backs. You know Kyler Murray is going to get him in position to have some decent weeks down the line, so you may want to look at him as a cheap trade option. Devin Singletary has went off these last couple weeks. In Week 10, 23.1 PPR fantasy points, and we knew he was going to go off against the Cardinals, or at least he was supposed to be started in most fantasy leagues due to the matchup against the Cardinals because they do nothing but allow fantasy points to running backs. And in those games where they didn't allow fantasy points to running backs and went to the wide receivers and they did not really need to go heavy at the running back position, the odds were very good that Singletary was going to hit this week due to the fundamentals. And he did. 112 yards, a touchdown, 22 carries. He's getting a lot of work too. He had 52 carries in his last 2 weeks. So Pierce is out. You know Singletary's a good start because you know he's getting opportunities, and opportunities matters, and sometimes that's just enough for you at the running back position to get you by, and that's what you want from these running backs, is them really to get touches, and then after that, you just got to hope Jesus takes the wheel. Jaylen Warren, 9 carries, 129 yards, and a touchdown. had that big touchdown run that really set things off for him. Only saw 2 touches in the back half of the game there. Really slowed things down. They're sharing the workload with Najee Harris still. An ugly game, though. It was an ugly game script. That's really the notion here. And the flow here with Warren, though. 14 fantasy points in week 9, 19 in week 10, 23 in week 11. So he's been hot right now. Definitely should not be on waivers. Pick him up. Get him on your team if he's sitting there and see what happens. Tony Pollard did some things this week. 61 yards and a touchdown. Scored 18 fantasy points. Caught 4 balls for 19 yards. Did enough to get the media off his back. The media was hot on him for the last few weeks. Talking about Rico. Talking about how he needs to lose some of his touches. Talking about how they need to use Dowdle more. There was a lot going on. You can tell McCarthy did not like it in the press conference. He was pretty adamant in that last statement when we were going over that in the video the last few days, and that Tony Pollard was the guy, and he was the guy in this backfield. Dowdle was dealing with an ankle injury that came up on Saturday. It made him questionable, but still, 12 carries, 61 yards, and a touchdown. The one thing you can say here is he did enough to make things quiet from the media, to get them off his back. However, he did not go off, though. He did not rush for over 100 yards. It was 150 yards. It was not monumental, but still enough to allow him go into next week, the week after, as the guy with less questions going forward from the media, which is very good for Tony Pollard going forward. Now we're looking at James Cook getting volume in this offense right now, and he's being used in the passing game. We want running backs being used in the passing game. The game script benefited him for seeing carries. Got 73 yards on 17 touches, 19.2 fantasy points. And really, if the game script goes his way, he's going to be getting opportunities to get the rock, get those fantasy points for you. And you got to hope for that. And if not, maybe he's getting work in the passing game, but that's going to be a mixed bag, and that's going to be a dice roll. Raheem Mostert is a good running back in a good situation and got a lot of workload this week. 22 carries. Devin Chain had to come out. Granted him more opportunities. They used him all over the place. You can see by the chart right there. Scored 10.3 fantasy points. Caught 1 ball off 2 targets for 7 yards. Getting opportunities in this offense is a very good thing. He's the guy going forward. I don't think that's new information. Khalil Herbert came back, got 16 carries. We had a hiccup with Deontay Foreman. He got hurt in this matchup. Rashawn Johnson got some opportunities. They're spreading the love to the running backs a little bit. But the fact is, he came back. He got some opportunities. We got to see that. Did not amount to fantasy production. But he's back. He's seeing touches. And that's the trend that we're looking at here. Maybe that could equate to more down the line. But he's back, and they're using him. They're not putting the kids' gloves on. They're allowing him to get some work. Those are the trends from Week 11. We talked about 10 running backs. We use next-gen stats and everything else. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Don't forget Ric Flair's watching you. You don't want to disappoint him. I want to thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.